The death of Charlie Kirk really paints a picture of American politics. It puts us in a position of finally understanding that the people around us, the people who call themselves virtuous individuals within our politics, are actually snakes, evil individuals that only care about self-image rather than justice. Um, and it comes back to, and I think out of everything, Charlie's death reminded me a little bit of, the Hunger Games. Um, and, how the people who, in one of the movies, um, the, the rebellion tries to, you know, basically demonize Snow, and they drop bombs on the people that, they're trying to protect, right? And in a way, I do think that our government was involved. I hope that not to be true. If our government was involved with the death of Charlie Kirk, then you can forget anything and everything about real justice in this world, in America. And it does bring me into a position where, we're analyzing what happened to Charlie. We know what happened to Charlie. And yet, no convictions. And, I get when you're investigating, you have to make sure you find the truth. But we have many people who aren't seeking it, many people who aren't investigating it. The only person investigating it is Candace Owens, and one of the many people who said that they cared about Charlie. When the death of Charlie happened, when he was assassinated, all these people came, rushing in, giving their 2 cents, making money off his death. All of his friends, family, and I find that as gross and disingenuous. If especially if that's what you're going to talk about. If you're going to be talking about politics in this world, and you have all these people coming in saying, oh man, they care about justice, and but none of it's being served. No one's deep diving into this. And yes, I absolutely find it disingenuous from the people who claim to be friends with Charlie, because it's 10 times worse when it's people taking your name after you've been killed and using it for their financial gain. I saw all these Daily Wire people come out pretending like they were best friends with Charlie. Best friends with, oh, he was a good advocate for this, that, and the other thing. It's like, no, like, I just, everyone who surrounded Charlie, who was in the political game, I think almost definitely was disingenuous. Now, I can only hope for justice to be served. But even then, we live in a world where high stake murders are being brushed off like nothing. And, the government cares more about your left or right bumper being fucked up, rather than, you know, these high-profile murders. Like, where's the justice? When are we going to get justice for these high-profile murders, these political murders? Especially when all these Democrats come out and they defend it. They say, oh, well, he deserved death. No. He just gave opinions. And I think the people who haven't had answers are going a little bit too far with them. Or too far trying to find them. Not finding necessarily or looking for the truth, but, you know, saying, oh, well, he's alive, he's alive. He's not alive. He's, if you watch the video, he's not. Okay. It's unfortunate. Now, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we have to understand that we, as the people, as the individuals, with our free speech, with everything that we have, need to stand up for justice. And no matter what that means, you know, if that means speaking up, if that means eventually being like Katniss Everdeen and you know, doing something about it, becoming a voice, becoming a thought process. Now, what's even worse is they came out with the Epstein files almost directly after his death, right? Because I think right there would have sat there and said, no, you know, Trump is in the Epstein files, right? He's there with a lot of them. And that would have changed loads of opinions of people's sort of thought process on Trump. Because, you know, it's not, you know, grifting anymore. It's not sitting there and getting on your hands and knees for Trump anymore. It's, okay, all these rich people, all these individuals are evil individuals. The CIA, all of them are doing heinous things. And if we're gonna be real, we need to own up to that, and we need to stop that. Especially now, right? Because if we don't stop it now, more people are gonna die. We don't know how many people we're killing in Iran are innocent people. We don't know how many people we're killing in Iran are you know, terrorists. Right now, the Epstein files, we have nobody held accountable for that. Nobody held accountable for the death of Charlie Kirk, for the murder of Charlie Kirk. No investigations leading into Erica Kirk that we're aware of. No investigations leading into DPUSA, which we have no investigations leading into, like, where in the fuck is the CIA? Where's the FBI? Where's the government at? We don't have any of these people coming in trying to fucking fix this shit, trying to get to these high-profile murders. Charlie Kirk's death, his assassination, was the day before 9/11. So, you know, could we understand that as a terrorist attack? In all honesty, I think that was a terrorist attack, even if it was by our own government. That's awful. It's heinous. You know, and I want justice for Charlie Kirk. I want justice. I want the people, whoever was involved, to be rooted out like the snake they are and serve their time. Just like the people who are just like the people who are getting away with these just smaller crimes. It's like our government doesn't, and, they just care about the small crimes that don't affect anyone. Only the D tier crimes, the C tier crimes, not the whole high profile murders, not the assassinations, not the death of individuals that actually, and we see this resurgence of modern day Americans come up and look up to someone like, either it be Nick Fuentes or Nick Shirley. People are looking at these individuals and they're like, okay, because of the death of Charlie. Not saying I do that, but I'm seeing that sort of movement in, American culture. We're like, oh, okay, these guys, they're going to be our speakers. It's like, and this is why I compare it to the Hunger Games, right? Because the people, the high-ups, pretty much on the political right, in the Hunger Games, are pretty much individuals. They say, oh, well, we need a face. We need a face for our group. We need a face for the rebellion. And that's where they come in. That's where Charlie Kirk comes in. That's where Candace Owens comes in. That's where all these, political right individuals come in, right? But we don't have anybody doing anything about our political structure. We don't have anybody doing anything about anything. Just talking. And I find it to be a real hard, moments of our lives. Just sit there and look at what happened to these individuals, and nothing to happen about it. No one to do anything. No one to change anything. But we see this resurgence of evil in this country, and it's not a battle against Democrat and Republican. It's a battle against good and evil. So know what side you're on, right? And understand that realistically, we have to do something. If no one else does anything, it's up to us. It's up to the individual people. It's up to the people to find and, deliver this justice in which, we currently do not have. So, in saying that, be aware, be understanding of what it takes to grow, to lead rebellions, to now I'm not advocating for like some crazy ass attack or anything. I think that we can do this through we can change the world through a non-violent political means, but be aware of it. We have the Second Amendment for that. I don't think, and I hate any person who sits there and says, anyone who sits there and says that Biden was a good president too is just completely idiotic and disingenuous. And I find that to be, just the biggest cope of all history. We have people who are getting arrested for destroying satanic imagery in Ohio State House during Biden's term. If you are a Christian and you supported anything that Biden did, understand that he was not a Christian. He was not a Catholic like he said he was, right? No, he was a Satan worshiper just like all the rest of the motherfuckers. So we have to understand that it is a battle against good and evil. And, right now we're in the Roman Empire. I don't even know if we have democracy anymore because of political violence, whether it be with just random speakers or with, other individuals. It's very, 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 very disingenuous from the political right, very disingenuous from the political left. You can't trust either of them. So, if, just be wary, I don't trust Fox News, I don't trust CNN, I don't trust any of them. And political violence is only going to grow because, you know, we're having AI now. You know, AI is being pushed. So now we have this sort of, you know, crazy, you know, you can't believe anything now. You know, all of my grandparents, these are voters, FYI, all my grandparents, all my, you know, family members almost, they don't recognize what's AI and what's not. And that's dangerous, especially in politics, because I could use that to do anything, to fuck over any individual in which I see fit. And I do find it disingenuous. I find it evil. I find it disgusting that we're continuously having that problem. And if we're going to continue with that, you can forget about justice. You can forget about, you know, everything that you were taught about America. Because at that point, we've become the people that, you know, we're trying to, you know, take out, defend ourselves against. And this comes back to me talking about the Hunger Games. I find it completely accurate, to say the least, to what's going on there. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. We live in a time where we can't trust anyone in the political parties. You know, and this time I find myself in a position where it's like, I don't even know if I want to vote. You know, we have all these, you know, Republicans currently, you know, spilling out all this bullshit, saying, oh, well, we support Trump, vote for us. It's like, I don't know any of your fucking policies, dude. You know, you just, you know, you have all these fucking smear campaigns on this individual. I don't know what any of your shit, like, you know, and it's just bullshit. Like, the only thing we know is from the ads, and the ads could be bullshit and AI. So it's like, you know, we can't trust politicians. We can't, and it's getting to that point where, you know, we don't have the peace that we think we do here in America. Now, it could be because of, you know, individual groups, right? Like, the people from Bohemian Grove, we know those people to be doing evil things, right? But no investigations into it. So, you know, where does our justice stand, right? Do we have justice? If people in the CIA are getting away with things, if the people in Bohemian Grove are getting away with things, I've talked to, you know, people who are Masons. They don't claim to do anything evil, or to their knowledge anything evil, but, you know, they very well could be doing things behind closed doors that, you know, are awful, or heinous, or evil in the eyes of, well, not just the Lord, but in the eyes of the people who claim to be moral. So, you know, we have to sit there and we have to understand that, you know, this is a war. Our enemies are not just in the Republican House. They're not just in the Democrat House. Right? They're everywhere. And it's time for us to recognize that and acknowledge that. I don't think we should pledge allegiance to any individual other than the Lord. And I know, you know, I mess up just like everyone else. I'm not claiming to be a perfect individual. But, you know, realistically, that's where we have to go. If people who are doing evil, satanic things and getting away with it in a country that claims to, you know, understand Christian morals, and, you know, that'd be our basis of morality within our world, then why in the hell are we still going through this shit? Why is it we still have so many disingenuous individuals? So, you know, sorry about all those ads in the back. I don't know if you can hear it or not. But it really puts us in a position. It really does.